All right, here we go. Halo Season 2. If you watch my channel during last year's season, you know that I did a video review of every single episode, and I will absolutely continue that going forward into Season 2. I have to apologize, though, because I don't have YouTube Premium, and as a result, you cannot watch this video on the 1080p enhanced bitrate. You're going to just have to be stuck like me as a peasant watching it on boring old 1080p. Also, before we begin, and I will do some explanation and some lore, at least of what I can provide to you, here's a quick list of the characters that you're going to be seeing in the upcoming trailer. Not all of them, of course. Some of them aren't around with us anymore, but gives you an idea of who to expect. Recall that this is the quote-unquote silver universe in Halo, which means the traditional blue team that we know from Halo lore today does not exist. Instead, we have the Master Chief with 3 other members in his fire team, which are Vanek, Cal, and Riz. So you're going to see them a little bit listed as well in in the video here. So let's go ahead and run it, and I'll talk a little bit over it, and then I'll tell you why some of this is really, really cool and why some of this is maybe a little bit baffling. So here we go. That is a lot of Covenant. I like the little Easter egg to Oscar Mike's there in the corner.
I bring you blessings.
Look at all those augmentations from the Spartan 2 program. Look at how many cuts she has on her arms and legs, and it's crazy. That was a glass beam. The Covenant glassing the planet. And that's a lot of elites and a lot of energy swords.
Sometimes events are beyond our control. And in those moments, we save what we can.
Look at your faces. I do not see defeat.
Captain Jacob Keyes.
And I do not see surrender.
A lot of battle rifles in there too.
Alone.
We have something the enemy does not. We have heroes.
When the battle ends,
Really cool action scenes here.
they just call it a victory. And say it was because of me.
All those pelicans in the background.
Or something you are. Something you
And
can't.
I'm guessing these are just the refugees of Reach. They're probably being evacuated at some point. Nice. So it's really hard to tell from this trailer, like the order of what's going to happen. Obviously, Reach falls. If this follows the book, and we don't know, again, this is a Silver universe, so some of the lore may or not carry over. It's kind of, I think it's assumed to be the lore is the same unless explicitly told otherwise. In the Halo lore, the traditional lore right now, what happens is the UNSC Iroquois engages with some of the Covenant. They actually put a tracking device on it. It goes back to Reach. The Covenant find Reach and set out to destroy it. Now, a lot of people, I think, assume that Reach is a complete militarized world. That's actually not true. There is actually a civilian area to it as well, which I am guessing is what these scenes are here. A lot of the scenes, a lot of the training that the Spartan 2 program undergoes when they're children and all the augmentation they have via Dr. Catherine Halsey actually takes place on Reach. So this is home to most of the Spartans, even though they were born somewhere else. This is actually where their home is in their minds. They grew up here, and this is the memories they formed with each other in this place. So a lot of the scenes you see of people sitting around in kind of moments of despair or in self-contemplation is them defending the only home they've ever known. Even though Chief wasn't, even they kind of dabbled at the end of the first season of Chief getting flashbacks to who his parents might be and kind of what his lineage is, I suspect they're going to more closely follow source material and have the Spartans understand that they're defending what to them is home. And I think that's a very central concept to this. I talked about it very briefly in the video. I was trying not to talk over it too much, but you could see some of the insane genetic augmentation that Spartan 2s underwent as children. The tons and tons of surgeries they had to harden their bones and to increase their lung capacity and to change the way their blood vessels work to make them more elite fighting machines. So they're self-reflecting, I think, as Chief probably became self-aware of the horrors that were committed on him and being kind of ripped away from his family. It's safe to assume he would then turn around and tell his teammates about it. I know they ended on not the best set of terms in Halo, the kind of the season finale of Halo 1, but I think it's safe to assume they're going to kiss and make up. They're going to have to, right? But you could see that Riz is kind of doing the self-reflection. She actually sheds a tear, which is something that we saw quite a few times in the first season, that these Spartans in this universe are not impenetrable emotionally, that they do have the ability to self-reflect. Most likely, the doping chip that was in the back of her head that Chief removes, that Kai removes, is most likely what Riz is experiencing here. Starting now to understand kind of what happened to her and coming to grips with the horror that underwent kind of her genetic augmentation. Throughout this entire trailer, you're seeing tons and tons of elites. There's a lot of elite weaponry. Here's a picture of the Banished flying in. I'm sorry, Banished. I wish the Banished were flying in. That'll be the next season, I'm sure. That's actually a Banshee flying in. Those are the single vessel kind of reconnaissance and light attack aircraft setting course probably for Reach as some of the bigger warships would fly in behind them. There's actually even, there it is right there. Dumb luck, I clicked on it. That's actually the glass, kind of the purification beam, so to speak. The Covenants are very, very effective at plasma technology and plasma weapons. That's why when you play the game, you're typically using their energy type weapons, as where the UNSC would use more kinetic weapons. So traditional ammunition, sniper rifles, shotguns, machine guns, pistols, that sort of thing. The Banished, I keep saying the Banished. Oh my goodness. I really want the Banished now. Gosh darn it. We're bringing Atriox, okay? Let's fix this series. The Covenant will focus more on plasma weaponry. So you're seeing a lot of plasma here. And this is clearly beaming through. They call it glassing a planet because it cuts down through the core into the magma. And the magma rises up, and you can see that trail of fire behind the beam, which hardens into a type of crystalline glass, rendering the planet basically dead. It's not actual like a planet cracker like we saw in Dead Space, where they actually just rip the planet in two. But this is pretty much the worst thing that could happen. And you can see these beams going through large populated areas, killing many civilians, obviously crippling the UNSC's fleet. Again, this is their home world, so this is their major military outpost. So the best weapons, the best technology, the best scientists, the research, everything is happening here. And you can see it being taken away systematically. That's a really big deal. I'm kind of curious in the flow of the show. I part of me, the way that they say rise from falling down, it makes me wonder if this is going to happen like right off the bat, and then we're going to watch the UNSC kind of struggle to rebuild over the next few episodes, or if this is going to be something that's more closer to a finale. Recall that at the end of season 1, things weren't looking very good for the UNSC. Chief went into some sort of weird coma where Cortana took over. That plot line seemingly abandoned here. No mention of that anywhere. Recall that Halsey kind of starting to get exposed in maybe a different way. And as the Silver team becomes self-aware, that we're kind of starting to turn on each other, and all these human emotions are being processed simultaneously. You know, the anger, the fear, the happiness, all these things are happening at once. There was a lot of infighting. So we'll be curious to see how that plays out. There's a lot of battle scenes here. Chief's armor looks insane. It looks so good. The weaponry looks good. There was a scene in there where he was loading up an MA-40. The way he snaps the mag into the bottom is exactly like it happens in the video game. I hope they fixed the little issue they had at the end of the other season where he was doing 3-round bursts on an MA-40, which it's a fully automatic weapon. That was my big criticism. Now the battle rifles, yes, battle rifles are a 3-round burst. And during a scene where he is fighting in a hallway, doesn't even have his power armor on. We'll get to that in a moment. He was standing next to somebody who was using a 3-round burst battle rifle, the BR-75. So that was really cool. The Elite here, menacing, evil. We saw a lot of them towards the end of season 1. That really long, intense fight scene. Here you can see their energy swords with their cloaks on, you know, kind of disengaging their cloaks. So I would expect there's going to be a lot of kind of close quarters combat. We'll have to kind of wait and see. You know, there's a lot of heroic shots of Spartans looking out on the back of a pelican hanging off. You can see lots of debris and dust in the background. This is them probably jumping into the battle after something has lost, and probably the horror. Again, if their emotional chip is not in their head, they're seeing this and they're probably scared. They're probably confused. This is something in this universe that they established that, you know, because of the doping that went into them, they were fearless and they were the demons, right? I mean, that's what the Covenant calls the Master Chief. They call him the demon because he was fearless. He fought with reckless abandon. You know, he would get shot and it didn't faze him. He just kept going. But now, with the chip gone, they're scared, they're confused, they're hurt. I know this is a lot to convey from a single image, but I'm hoping these are some of the themes that maybe get explored over the show. There you can see the team lining up. And this is the only shot, I believe, of Vanek right here. He was my absolute favorite. Vanek 134. I'll be curious to see what his role is in this. He was kind of a Fred role in season 1, kind of the right-hand man. Very respected a soldier amongst the group. I'll be curious to see if his role is kind of fleshed out throughout everything. There is Captain Jacob Keyes. He's going to play a significant role leading the end of Reach when the UNSC activates the Cole Protocol. And they jump to Reach, they jump rather to the first Halo Ring installation 04. Recall the Cole Protocol is a series of random jumps so that the Covenant can't follow you. He's going to play a key role in that, Captain Keyes. Yeah, he's got his daughter Miranda. She's running around in the background. You see her a few times as well. So it looks like he's here, standing here, getting ready to rally. The troops, mostly consisting of young, inexperienced, doe-eyed Marines. I do not see any ODSTs here. Kind of surprised by that. I kind of felt like you might have some ODSTs in the fight, and maybe they don't exist in this universe, or maybe they're already out fighting, so they're not getting a pep talk. I like that some of the soldiers are wearing helmets, and not only are they wearing helmets, they're crooked. So maybe just to show, you know, we weren't ready, right? Maybe we were just totally unprepared, and this is a fresh group of, you know, a fresh squad of people, you know, getting into it. It's hard to say. Here you have some of the structures that the UNSC's built, some of the fortifications. Looks like you got a wall here with soldiers kind of marked up behind it. I don't see any mounted machine guns, which is kind of humorous to me, although I don't know why this fortification would even exist outside the city walls, looking out at the city. I'm trying not to pick on the military doctrine or creed of everything, but I do find it a little bit humorous that this would exist. It is makeshift, of course. Most likely a lot of this entire engagement is going to be guerrilla warfare. So you're probably going to see a lot of small, kind of haphazardly built installations and little structures in which the soldiers are fighting against. There you get a couple shots of the BR-75s, 3-round burst mode with that nice scope on top. These look so good. God, the props in this the props in this look just like the game. That's what I'm trying to say. We get a couple more action scenes that don't look great and still shots. I'm not sure who this guy is. At first I was looking at it. I'm thinking that might be Colonel Ackerson, although he looks a little different here. Maybe it's just this press photo. I don't know. But if that is Ackerson, I don't really remember from the first season. He was largely involved with the creation of the Spartan 2 program. So there might be showing and injecting some of these scenes in here to show you that they are now becoming aware of the fact that the Spartans are aware. And you basically ripped away these people from their families and genetically augmented them. And now you're turning around and saying, save us. So there might be some sort of play on there of kind of like who is the master and who isn't and who's kind of in charge. You know, maybe this is a moment where they're starting to lose kind of that chain of being, so to speak, where the chains of commands are starting to break down because the Spartans are the only ones that can compete toe-to-toe with the elites, and you have their masters who are telling them what to do, which aren't on very good terms right now with the individual Spartans. So this might be a pep talk of like, hey, go out there and fight and go be a good soldier and be all you can be. The set design in this looks absolutely amazing and incredible. I flagged this shot particularly because that looks to me like the Master Chief is looking at himself. That looks like his reflection, Pablo Schreier's reflection in his own helmet. Maybe this is a nod to the very beginning somehow where Cortana like takes over and he's having this self-aware moment. I'm not really entirely sure. Maybe that's not even his reflection. It's hard to say. I am sure we're going to get a lot of red shirts who get absolutely eviscerated here, who are not really prepared for the horrors of war. There's Miranda Keyes getting ready for her big moment. A lot of the kind of civilians and town folk, some fight scenes and that sort of thing. Really cool shot here of the warthog, or a warthog, I should say. Looks like an explosion's going off and dudes are getting blown off of it. You can see it's pretty accurate to the source material, even down to the gas cans hanging on the ass end of that thing. It looks really, really good. I was insanely impressed with the sheer amount of detail that went into the set design. If you're a super fan like me and you watched the dissection of each episode after the scenes, they talked a lot about how a lot of this came to life. And a lot of the attention was done into the various set pieces and, you know, a lot of Easter eggs planted throughout here as well. Here's a shot of some of the outside space battles. There you can see a Covenant Corvette kind of in the background there being flanked by some other Covenant vehicles, you know, getting ready to glass if they didn't already, to destroy the planet. And then just lots of random action shots. Now, the one thing I did not see in this entire trailer, we did not see Kwan a single time. She was not there at all. Kwan Ha, probably the most annoying character in the entire show, really became the Jar Jar Binks of the show. I mean, really and truly, every time she came on, everybody collectively groaned when she was on. And I would maintain you could go back and watch the first season in a Kwan-free cut and you'd be happy. Now, I have nothing against the actress who played Kwan. She was doing what she was told, and I have nothing bad to say about her personally. The character sucked. And I was thrilled to see that Kwan does not make an appearance anywhere in here. We did see a couple scenes of Vanek, most likely back at the rubble, which was that kind of rogue environment that existed in the first season. So maybe he's feeling like he has to come back in, even though he's kind of AWOL. Maybe he wants to make a return. There's a lot of themes at play here. I think there's a lot of really good source material. War movies, I'll close out with this. War movies that have a major loss in them, like I think Saving Private Ryan is a pretty safe bet. Most people have seen that movie. The way in which the soldiers handle the loss is really telling of how great the writing is going to be. And it's that emotional impact you have. How can they build up and make you care about the fact that everything these people know and love is systematically being destroyed? And while there are small victories here and there, ultimately it is a absolute annihilation of the UNSC. And it was a decisive moment in the war in which the UNSC almost completely lost everything. So it makes you wonder as you're reading through this, knowing that this leads directly into Halo proper, episode, the game number 1, Halo Combat Evolved. This leads directly into the actual installation 04 and the utilization of that weapon and the Covenant infighting and a lot of the wars that happen on there with the remainders of the last semblance really of humanity, if you want to think about it, from the Pillar of Autumn. Really curious to see how they handle that story beat. I think if they can pull it off, and who knows, we'll find out soon enough. I think if they can pull it off, you're going to find a lot more positive praise about this show than we did in the past. That's definitely something that I feel was lacking. I think the technical production of the first season, I think the way that the costumes and the art and everything came together was masterclass. But the story obviously was very, very odd. Not true to character, which I'm willing to accept being part of this quote-unquote silver universe. But I hope this is a massive course correction for the show to get people hyped. We know who the characters are now. You might not love them. You might disagree with some of the things Chief did in the first season. But now we know who they are. They've set the stage. And now something dire is going to happen to the heroes of the show. How will they react? I can't wait to watch it. I am so excited for this, in case you couldn't tell. And I'll be here with you right along as each of these episodes come out. I'll be posting my thoughts on them. So go back and watch it. The first season of Halo is actually, it was free on YouTube to watch in its entirety. I don't know if it still is anymore. Maybe you can still watch it. If not, go buy the DVDs. Go check out Paramount Plus. It's definitely worth a watch. It's not nearly as bad as everybody says it is. But that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Get out there and play some Halo. And until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.